An encased dead woman, a 280-pound heavy, and a private eye with an edge. Welcome everyone. This week we're going back to 1968 for an American crime thriller film called Lady in Cement, starring Frank Sinatra, Raquel Welch, Dan Blocker, and Richard Conte. And this is directed by Gordon Douglas. I hope you enjoyed this week's story. It begins in Miami with Private Detective Tony Rome, played by Frank Sinatra, and Buddy Rubin aboard the boat Straight Pass. Tony wins a map from their poker game, explaining 11 fabled Spanish galleons that were sunk in the year 1591. Nearing Fowey Rocks, Tony dives below, only to discover a dead blonde woman, her feet encased in cement at the bottom of the ocean. After Rome reports the finding to the Coast Guard, Tony and Rubin end up at the office of Lieutenant Dave Santini, played by Richard Conte, and think nothing more of the incident. Back at the boat, Tony receives a message, very urgent, no name, only an address. Proceed to 314 Causeway. Upon arriving, the mailbox reads Maria Barreto and Sandra Lomax, but is met by Jolly Green Giant Waldo Gronsky, played by Dan Blocker. Gronsky hires him to find a missing woman, Sandra Lomax, but will not say why, gives Tony his watch to pawn off for payment. Finding a card that reads Jillies, Rome heads over to the local hotspot to talk to dancer Maria Barreto, hoping to pick up on a few names. Maria says the last time she saw Sandra was at a party the night before, put on by socialite Kit Forrest, played by Raquel Welch. Before leaving, thugs Danny Yale and Seymour dislike Rome after asking questions about trying to match up a block of cement with a blonde, is asked to leave. Tony greets Kit by the pool at her home, stating he's a private detective trying to locate someone. She invites him in, stating she was smashed at her party last night and doesn't remember Sandra Lomax, leaves the room to change, makes a call to her upstanding neighbor. While waiting, Tony notices a painting of Kit with the artist's name Arnie Sherwin, another possible lead. To refresh her memory, pillar of the community, racketeer Al Mungar shows up, a supposedly reformed gangster who looks after Kit's interests. After being asked to leave by the upper crust, Tony heads back to Sandra's, only to find Maria dead and an upset lieutenant, I'll bet. So, after doing time, did Bronsky want to get even when Sandra identified him as the perpetrator of a crime? Did Kit's drinking problem cause her to wake up with a knife in her hand covered in blood? Or is Al's son the real muscle behind a bigger organization? Released November 20th, 1968, our film is based on the 1961 novel of the same name by American writer Marvin H. Albert. Following the success of Tony Rome from 1967, taken from Marvin Albert's 1960 novel Miami Mayhem, producer Aaron Rosenberg hired Marvin to write the screenplay for this film. User reviews make such claims as, Old Blue Eyes meets Hoss Cartwright, it's still fun to see Sinatra in his wisecracking best, and Tony Rome is back and entertaining, adding comedy to this mystery crime thriller. I'll put up the link to Tony Rome from 1967, as I did that one on my channel, and I'll put up the link to another great detective story starring John Wayne Brannigan from 1975. And our trivia question this week. The race was on to find the culprit, but was there another race filmed in this movie? The race was on to find the culprit, but was there another race filmed in this movie? So, a little more history and the answer to our trivia question. That is next. This week for history, we're going behind the scenes on this fun crime thriller. So, filming started in March 1968. Before and during filming, Sinatra was performing at the Fontainebleau in Miami over a 6-week period. The Fontainebleau Miami Beach is a luxury hotel in Miami Beach, Florida, was ranked first on its list of Florida Architecture 100 Years, 100 Places, from the American Institute of Architects, Florida chapter in 2012. Raquel Welch went to watch Sinatra and found the experience so inspiring, she determined to continue to perform to live audiences in her career. The nightclub in our film is named Jilly's. Yes, a joking reference to Jilly Rizzo, Sinatra's longtime pal and owner of a popular drinking spot in New York. However, when Tony Rome gets in the taxi by the hotel, on the side of the cab, there is an advertisement for fellow Rat Pack member Dean Martin's restaurant known as Dean's Lounge, also Dino's Lodge. Located on the 79th Street Causeway in North Bay Village, Florida, it featured entertainment and a classic 1960s lounge atmosphere. The dancer Maria Barreto at Jilly's in our film was played by American actress, singer, and classical composer Lainie Kazan. Kazan attended Brooklyn's Erasmus Hall High School with Barbra Streisand, for whom she would later understudy. Kazan would later play Maria in the My Big Fat Greek Wedding franchise. When Rome enters a hotel room and confronted by an employee, Daniel Boone is playing on the television. Daniel Boone is an American action-adventure television series starring Fess Parker that aired from September 24, 1964 to May 7, 1970 on NBC for 165 episodes. Sinatra was co-owner of the series and also produced at 20th Century Fox, the maker of this film. When Tony Rome walks into the room in the massage parlor where Waldo Gronsky is, Gronsky, played by Dan Blocker, is watching Bonanza, in which he played Hoss Cartwright. I remember this show. Bonanza is an American Western television series that ran on NBC from September 12, 1959 to January 16, 1973. Lasting 14 seasons and 431 episodes, it is NBC's longest-running Western, and if you're wondering what's second to that, it's CBS's Gunsmoke. Lastly, this is the final cinema movie produced by Aaron Rosenberg, who gave us such classics as Bend of the River from 1952, which I did on my channel, and The Glenn Miller Story from 1954. And the answer to our trivia question this week: the race was on to find the culprit, but was there another race filmed in this movie? Yes. Tony Rome meets Kit Forrest at the Gulfstream Park for a day at the races. The park is a thoroughbred horse racetrack, casino and outdoor entertainment, and shopping destination in Hollandale Beach, Florida, United States. This 1 1/8 mile dirt track is among the most important venues for horse racing in the U.S. and is open 365 days of the year. Gulfstream Park opened on February 1st, 1939. Its initial meeting attracted a crowd of 18,000 people. Some of the highlights: the Gulfstream Park Handicap was first run in 1946. 1952 saw the first running of the Florida Derby. And in 1989, it hosted its first Breeders' Cup World Championships. Amazing. I'd like to give a big thank you to my viewers and subscribers. Thanks to my new ones jumping on board this week. Don't forget to click the link below and watch Lady in Cement in its entirety. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon.